Alex Radical from Board Game Co., and I'm just not in the mood of solo gaming the way I used to be. It's more complicated than that. That's just like the start of the video, makes for a good title, and it's true, it's very, very true, but it's definitely more complicated than that. I think many things in life come and go in waves. My interest in board gaming in general it's never gone, but it has gone higher and lower and higher and lower, both before I ever started doing, content and YouTube and all that, and also after. There's always a degree of ebb and flow to different things in life, whatever that thing might be, whether it's reading, whether it's a particular hobby you have, well, gaming would be a hobby, whether it's an aspect of that hobby, whether it's video games, whatever it is, there's ebbs and flows in life. I think that's a good thing. I remember maybe a year ago, I discovered making overnight oats for myself. And I've dabbled with different things. I've dabbled with Overnight Oats, the brand. There's a company that does overnight oats, and honestly, they're pretty quick and convenient. They're not bad for you. I kind of recommend them. They're also a little pricey, so I try not to have those that often. Not because of the priciness, but priciness is a factor. But honestly, I just think that I make better overnight oats myself. And I started this overnight oats thing, and I started having it every single day, and for a good 6 months, I was like, I cannot believe I lived without this. I will have this for the rest of my life. It is good for you. It's high in fiber. It's high in protein. It fills you up throughout the whole morning, and it's so darn good. I haven't had overnight oats in 2 months, 3 months, and I'll have it again. I like it, but I definitely shifted away from I can't believe I ever went a day of my life without having this. I changed my whole routine. I wasn't really a breakfast person. I was very much a coffee person, and then I started having coffee and oats in the morning, and it was so good. And again, I was just shocked that I hadn't done this before, and I thought I would never not do it again. And it lasted 6 months. And now I'm more of an on and off again person when it comes to overnight oats. This is not about overnight oats. This is about solo gaming, but it's about ebbs and flows. Also, we'll get to the why I'm making this video soon as well, but let's first talk about where I am. I'm not in the mood of solo gaming the way I used to be. Now, regular gaming is still safe. I love sitting down with my friends and playing board games. It is still one of my favorite things to do, which is great because it's my job, but it's one of my favorite things to do. There's a degree of social aspect to it. There's a degree of just, enjoying the strategy elements of the game. I like short games. I like long games. I like light games. I like heavy games. I like all kinds of different experiences, many at different levels. Certainly there's some better than others, but honestly, the most common rating I give on this channel is a 3.5 out of 5. Most games are a 3.5 out of 5. Most games are good. Some games are great. Some games feel like they kind of were a little bit of a waste of time, but even at a 3 out of 5, I still had fun playing it. We have to dip to a 2.5 before we start getting into did I regret the time I spent on this? And for the most part, the answer is not really, because I guess it's something good to knock off my list. But there are some games where for the most part, board games are a lot of fun. But for me, solo gaming has never been quite as reliable as regular gaming. I've gone through periods where I've loved it. I've gone through different types of games. There were periods where I didn't dabble in it at all. And right now, I'm just not in the mood for solo gaming. I still do it to an extent. We'll come back to that as well. But less in the mood for it than I was before. My personal journey with solo gaming, I got into the hobby in 2011. I don't remember when I first tried my first solo game. I do remember that I bounced off solo gaming pretty hard at first. I tried it and I was like, I don't see the appeal of this. It feels like I'd rather just play a video game if I'm going to play a solo game. And that's a very commonly said thing. There's a whole world of solo gaming out there, and most games at this point nowadays do come with a solo mode, and I'm grateful for that. Because there's all kinds of different people. Adam Smith from Rolling Solo has a great video about solo gaming that I highly recommend. I'll link to it down below if I remember. But one of the things he talks about is when you have solo gaming, you don't need anything else. You don't need your friends to show up. You don't need them to know the rules. You don't need to time it all. You don't need to have that once a week game night. You just sit down and you play a game. That's all you need. You need yourself and the game. You sit down, you play the game, and a whole lot of other reasons and perks of it. But that aspect kind of stuck with me. Scheduling game night is hard. I have game nights several times a week, and it still feels hard to make it all work and play all the games I want to play and, again, job-wise, need to play. But solo gaming, you sit down, you read the rules, you set up, and you start playing. You start solving the puzzle in front of you, and it can be so satisfying in so many different ways, and there's such a degree of almost convenience to the experience while giving you the strategic element that you get out of board games. You lose the social element, but that doesn't mean that it's not fun because of the strategy element. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy the little puzzle in front of you. But my journey with solo gaming was, at first I bounced off hard. At first I thought I'd rather just play a video game. And it took Spirit Island. I remember this as it's like a core memory for me at this point, because I had for the longest time, before I did content, I had for the longest time a regular Thursday night game night. It ran straight from, I want to say, like 2013, 2014, no, maybe 2014. Maybe it was 2014, I think, but it ran straight from 2014 all the way till COVID hit. Every Thursday night, nearly without fail, I would say like 48, 49 times a year, we had game night and we played games. And the 3 or 4 that we didn't was because I was out of town. That's when there wasn't a game night. If I was out of town Thursday night, there was not a game night. But otherwise, there was a game night, come rain, come shine. I found that trying to schedule a game night is so much more work than simply saying, Thursday night is game night, show up or don't, but there's games happening. I remember one particular Thursday night, again, I don't remember when it was, but I'd have to guess 2016-ish. I'd have to figure out when I first played Spirit Island, and I just don't know that answer. But it was shortly after I had just played Spirit Island for the first time, not solo, by the way, with other people, and I called for a game night, and for the first time in a long time, game night didn't happen. No one showed up, no one was coming, and I was like, game night's happening. I'm going to play a game regardless of whether people show up. And so I pulled out Spirit Island. I was currently high on Spirit Island from having played it already and enjoyed it, and I decided to dive into it solo. And I loved it. I loved the puzzle of it. I loved the experience of it. It was the first solo game that taught me that I could love solo gaming. And for me, co-op games have generally been where I like solo the most. There's still aspects of solo I don't really dabble in or very rarely appreciate. We'll talk about that shortly. But Spirit Island was the game that I was like, oh my gosh, there's something here. It's not just like a little puzzle of an experience. It's like a real full-fledged game. And that kind of opened my eyes and opened the doors to solo gaming for me. Since then, I've played a lot of different solo games, and I've learned what I like and what I don't like, where things can work with me, where they're more likely to work with me, what kind of experiences I want to play, what experiences I actually play. And for me, it's a little bit all over the place. I like things like Spirit Island and Marvel Champions and, I don't know, what's a recent, Assassin's Creed, or any of these Street Masters, like these kinds of experiences where you can sit down. Yes, they can be co-op too. Many of those can be co-op. Some are exclusively solo, but many are co-op. But you dive into like a puzzle to solve the longer epic experience. Those can be incredibly rewarding, and I can love them. I also like little puzzles. The Oniverse is a great example of this. Many button-shy games, I find that I have a strong affinity towards puzzles. Under Falling Skies, oh my gosh, it's so I want to play. You know what? Screw this whole video. I want to play Under Falling Skies. I'm in the mood of a solo game right now. It's been a while since I played Under Falling Skies, and I kind of want to play Under Falling Skies. But there's so many good games. Like the puzzly side of things, the smaller, shorter puzzle things are the other area where I found that I often enjoy myself in solo gaming. It's usually, I would say, 10 minutes to half an hour, providing a more puzzly experience as opposed to a larger, more thematic experience, which what you get out of Marvel Champions, Spirit Island, Too Many Bones, things like that. Both of them have a place in my personal solo gaming adventure. Later on, I figured out a category I don't like and the exception within that category. And that is autonoma scoring or beat your own score, any of those stuff. Like, I hate beat your own score scoring. I hate fighting against a virtual opponent who is trying to mimic a human opponent. Like, give me full-on spirits trying to, well, I'm a spirit. Give me the colonists invading the island. That's different. But if you have someone else who's trying to mimic a human opponent, I don't like that in games. I don't like, for the most part, and there are exceptions, I don't like competitive games that are giving you a solo mode. Like those puzzles you're trying to solve, that's great. Again, Oniverse, Sprawlopolis, things like that, that's great. The full-on thematic experiences that are co-op and the solo is great too, that's great. But don't give me a game like, I don't know, what's a game that I love that I don't want to play solo? Unconscious Mind. Okay? Great game. Amazing game. I love it. I have no interest in playing that solo. None whatsoever. But there are exceptions. The exceptions kind of fall into exceptions and then a category of exceptions. The exceptions are things like Terraforming Mars. I've played Terraforming Mars multiple times and enjoyed it solo. That's a full-on exception. It's just maybe I just like Terraforming Mars that much. But for the most part, I would say I don't enjoy competitive games when they shift to solo. The category of exceptions is when there's scenario-driven solo mode. The most common example for me is going to be things like Calico, Cascadia, all of the flat-out games are Harmonies. Well, Harmonies with the fan-made solo expansion, not the official Harmonies. That I don't like. But you give me a competitive game like Cascadia, and then you sit there and say, here's a solo mode, and here's scenarios. It's not just about beat your own score. It's a bunch of scenarios where you're trying to get certain requirements. I love that. That is now my new favorite. Forget the giant thematic experiences, forget the small little puzzles. You take a competitive game and give me little solo challenges to solve. That has been some of my favorite solo gaming. Again, you know, maybe after this video I'll play Under Falling Skies and a little bit of Cascadia, because like Calico is one of the best solo modes. Cascadia, I've played it like 40, 50 times solo by now. I have gone through it so many times. It is so much fun. I love that particular nuanced challenge of here's a score target, here's certain things you're trying to do along the way, and make it hard. Make it hard. Don't give me like a beat your own score kind of situation where I have to determine how hard it is. That's meaningless to me. But those kinds of Calico, Cascadia solo modes, oh my gosh, they are amazing. I love them. That's the solo experience I kind of like. But I do find that my desire to play games solo ebbs and flows. In a way that, yes, my regular gaming desire ebbs and flows, but like I said, if we're looking at little curved lines, if this is 0, my desire to play a board game with friends is like, it's like this. But whether it's day to day, month to month, year to year, it's shifting in that. Solo gaming is much more of a curve. I don't know if it ever gets to 0, but it doesn't have to get to 0. Because if it gets to here, and my desire to sit down and play a video game is here, then I'm going to pick the video game, except when it's work related. We'll get to that too. And that's right now where things are for me. Right now, my solo gaming desire is not at 0. Lord knows, like this week alone, I think I've played like 3 or 4 games solo. But I would say that right now, I'm primarily playing games solo because I'm trying to get games covered, both to keep up with games, as well as when it's relative to like, you know, time, relative to crowdfunding dates or whatnot. So I still play a lot of solo, but I do find that right now, I kind of just want to sit down and play a video game. Not like in this moment, but like if I'm going to sit down and be like, you know what I want to play? I'm going to play some Spirit Island solo. No, I'll play Spirit Island with friends. That's great. I'll play Too Many Bones with friends. But as much as I love Too Many Bones, I don't think I want to set it up just to play Too Many Bones for the sake of me playing Too Many Bones. Right now I'm in the middle of playing through Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Yes, I'm behind the times, but I'm catching up in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I'm like, I think I'd rather just sit down in front of, you know, the screen and play Assassin's Creed Odyssey for an hour. I think that's more my current jam as far as solo gaming versus non-solo gaming. And it's a recent thing. Again, it ebbs and flows. This is not just because I have to balance the work requirements. Like, having your life revolve around board games in a work capacity does change the way you engage with them. But I've been doing this for 5 years, and I've had plenty of times where I just want to sit down and play solo games all day. I've definitely had that. And I don't know if it's about carving out the right times of day. I think that might be, to a certain extent, part of it. I do think that if the later it gets in the evening, the more likely I am to either want social company or just a screen, and not to dive into Too Many Bones or Marvel Champions. Versus early in the day, I'm happy to do so, but early in the day I have work and things to do and all that stuff. So you're kind of relegating optimal solo time to like the weekends when no one's bothering you. And that's like, no, there's no work responsibility. It's not late in the day. There's a degree of pros and cons around the scheduling of it. But for whatever reason right now, the desire has shifted a little bit lower. The enjoyment is still there. The appreciation is still there. That's part of what makes it easier to like still cover these games, to still dive into a game because I'm trying to learn it and get plays in and then be able to review it. That's still easy because the pressure to do so there comes from, okay, great, I have to cover this game for an upcoming crowdfunding campaign. And that's easy to dive into it because I'm doing it for the work. But then once you're there, there's such a strong appreciation for what's going on. Recently, I covered Reichbusters, a game I played both cooperative and solo. And oh my gosh, like it's so much fun. And I want to say I may have had, it depends on the phase. There's 2 phases to Reichbusters. There's the stealth mode at the very beginning, and then there's the run and gun mode after you're kind of discovered. I think the run and gun mode is a little more fun co-op, and the stealth mode is a little more fun solo, at least for me and the things I like out of games. Like, but trying to puzzle every little aspect of, well, I'm going to do this here, I'm going to combine that character, we're going to rush and open the door, we're going to take turns taking these actions. I really enjoyed that solo. Like, that was so much fun. Like, I gave that game a 4.5, and I'm thinking through it, and it was so much fun. But I think that I'd still rather play it multiplayer, at least right now, where I am. But I can still appreciate it solo. The reason I'm doing this video, because I said earlier I would cover why I'm doing this video, is twofold. First of all, I just like talking about things. But also because I know from being in this hobby for a long time, I know from being in Facebook groups and seeing people post in different ways, and I know from seeing people who get in and out of the hobby, people who are obsessed with board games one day and suddenly a year later you see them selling off their entire collection and leaving the hobby. I know that your desire for anything in life, whether it's overnight oats, whether it's board games, desires ebb and flow. Your degree of immersion in any particular thing will adjust. And that's okay. It's okay to have those things adjust. Don't put pressure on yourself that you don't need to have. Board games are a luxury, and they are a hobby that is so full of fun in so many ways. But the goal of board games is fun. It's not like other things. Like, you might sit there and try to get your 20 minutes of working out every day in, or whatever it is, and you might have to power through your desire not to do so, and you might choose to do that because you're doing it for the health of your body or this or that, and that's great. Similarly with work, you might try to power through doing an assignment because you have to. There's many things in life that we have to push past our desire not to do that thing because we recognize the good we'll get out of that thing, and that's important. Building habits is important. Understanding your priorities and short-term loss versus long-term gain, those are important things. But the end goal of a board game is fun. When it's something that is fun-based, you shouldn't push yourself to do something that you don't want to do. Now, there is an exception there, and the exception is very specific and very important. Sometimes you might have a hard time getting into it, but you know that if you do, you're going to have a blast. So again, using my example, if I can play Assassin's Creed and have fun, or if once I set up the board game and start playing, I'm actually having more fun than Assassin's Creed, that's different. That's understanding the initial hurdle to get to the good part, and that's important. You need to be able to learn yourself and learn how to power past those things. And this is true socially too. Sometimes you just don't want to get up from whatever you're doing and then go out to game night at your friend's house. Sometimes you don't. But you know that once you do, you're going to have so much fun, you're going to be happy you did, and you're going to want to do it again tomorrow. And so you do have to learn to power past initial obstructions. But outside of that, don't let your collection of games, don't let your unplayed games, your shelf of shame, don't let those things push you to do things you're not actually enjoying when the entire point of this hobby is the enjoyment of it. That's why we do this. That's why we're here. That's why we watch YouTube videos. That's why you're 20 minutes into a YouTube video of some random guy telling you that he's not in the mood of playing solo games right now, because you're invested and immersed in this hobby. And so find the things that give you joy. And sometimes that thing can be, like, and there's a lot of shame in this hobby around people who buy things and don't play them. But if that's what you enjoy and that's something you can do so responsibly, if you have the finances to do it responsibly, do that. Live your best life. Have fun. Always responsibly. Try not to do things that aren't good for your finances, your family's finances, whatever it is. But don't push yourself to do things you don't enjoy if there's not a reason. Again, working out, not eating that cookie, getting work done, all those things. And also let yourself do the things that you do to enjoy them. And sometimes it's looking at a shiny new board game, adding it to your collection, enjoying it, but also recognizing whether you're appealing to a temporary urge that will immediately need to be filled again, or whether there's an actual enjoyment. I have this game, I don't know when I'm playing it next, I don't care, I played it one time at that convention with those friends and I want it in my collection. Will I play it in the next year? I don't know. The next two? I don't know. But it was something that was a good time, a good moment, it's an aspect of memory, and maybe I'll dive back into it in the future. I just want to own it. That's okay. I'm not fully in the mood of solo gaming right now. I will say I'm kind of on a board game arena spree at the moment. I find that I've kind of hybrid myself in terms of when I'm looking for that temporary distraction. I've been trying to replace Facebook as a distraction in my life, and so I've very much turned to Board Game Arena as a way to appease. Like, whenever I'm in the mood of going on Facebook, I instead pop onto Board Game Arena and either start up a game there with somebody or who knows what. I've actually played through Pandemic a few times, solo, ironically enough, just because I was trying to appease the distraction aspect of not going to Facebook, replacing one digital distraction with another digital distraction that I much prefer. Let yourself enjoy the hobby the way you want. Give yourself grace for the ebbs and flows of life. And also, I do highly recommend trying out overnight oats. Not the company, this isn't a sponsored video. Honestly, just Google overnight oats recipe, find some like banana peanut butter combination, throw it in the fridge, you'll have a protein fiber-filled breakfast and it'll fill you up the whole day. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.